Imagine maximum security facilities where every corner holds a story of high-stakes escapes, notorious inmates, and chilling encounters. From the grim history to the cutting-edge security measures, we're peeling back the layers on some of the most feared and formidable prisons in Southern America. Whether it's the eerie silence of a solitary confinement cell or the nerve-wracking tales of riots and breakouts, today we will unravel the dark secrets and untold stories of these infamous institutions. Let's get started and see what makes these prisons the most dangerous in the South. Number 11. Charlotte Correctional Institution, Punta Gorda, Florida. Charlotte Correctional Institution in Punta Gorda, Florida, is a state prison for men, managed by the Florida Department of Corrections. This facility, which opened in 1989, can house up to 1,291 inmates. The prison holds a mix of security levels, including minimum, medium, and close custody. It is known for housing some of the state's most dangerous and troublesome individuals, with an extensive history of violent incidents and complex inmate dynamics that underscore its reputation as one of Florida's more perilous correctional institutions. One of the most significant events in the prison's history occurred in April 2014, when an inmate named Matthew Walker died following a confrontation with correctional officers. Walker's death led to a grand jury report that harshly criticized the institution, highlighting systemic issues within the facility, particularly concerning the use of excessive force by staff. The incident drew national attention, and the resulting scrutiny uncovered a culture within the prison that many former employees describe as toxic and violent, where abuse was not only common, but often encouraged by higher-ups. Another tragic event took place in 2003, when correctional officer Darla Lathram was killed during an attempted escape by inmates. Lathram, who was overseeing a construction detail, was brutally attacked and lost her life, marking her as the first female correctional officer in Florida to be killed on duty. This incident, involving inmates who were attempting to flee the prison, highlighted the extreme dangers faced by staff and the high-risk nature of the inmate population. Among those involved in the escape attempt was Dwight Eaglin, a former professional boxer serving a life sentence for a previous offense. His involvement in this violent incident further emphasized the types of dangerous individuals housed within Charlotte Correctional Institution. The facility has also been the site of numerous other violent encounters, including assaults on correctional officers by inmates. For example, in 2018, an inmate named Omar Bleachington assaulted a female officer in the cafeteria, leading to serious injuries. Such incidents are not isolated, and there have been multiple reports over the years of similar attacks, which have contributed to the prison's notoriety. In fact, the frequency of such violent incidents has made it clear that Charlotte Correctional Institution is a place where tensions run high and violence can erupt at any moment. Number 10. Broad River Correctional Institution, South Carolina. Broad River Correctional Institution, located in Columbia, South Carolina, stands as a significant fixture within the South Carolina Department of Corrections. This maximum security facility, which opened its doors in 1988, plays a crucial role in the state's correctional system, housing a range of individuals from general population inmates to those with special medical needs. With a capacity for about 1,280 inmates, Broad River Correctional is not only a place of confinement, but also a site of notable historical and contemporary events. From its inception, Broad River has been intimately connected with the state's capital punishment system. In January 1990, it became the new home for execution row inmates, a status it maintained until 1997, when Execution Row was relocated to Lieber Correctional Institution. The facility's role in executions was briefly interrupted, but resumed in 2019, reflecting its ongoing involvement in South Carolina's capital punishment procedures. Over the years, Broad River has witnessed various high-profile individuals who have made headlines due to their serious offenses. Among these is Stephen Bixby, known for his dramatic 2003 standoff in Abbeville, South Carolina; Richard Bernard Moore, convicted of taking the life of a convenience store clerk during a robbery, and Stephen Stanko, who was found guilty of taking 2 lives, also spent time here. Broad River has often been described as volatile, with instances of violence and corruption emerging over time. One striking example of this volatility is the case of Christine Mary Livingston, a former captain at Broad River who faced federal charges for accepting bribes to smuggle contraband into the prison. Over a period of 16 years, Livingston allegedly facilitated the entry of numerous prohibited items, including cell phones and other electronic devices, highlighting vulnerabilities in the facility's security. Broad River has also been the site of severe incidents involving the inmates themselves. Gang activity has further complicated the situation at Broad River, with various groups vying for influence and control. Number 9. Mount Olive Correctional Complex, West Virginia. Mount Olive Correctional Complex, MOCC, in Fayette County, West Virginia, stands as a formidable evidence to the state's approach to handling its most dangerous offenders. As the only maximum security prison in West Virginia, MOCC was built to replace the historic yet outdated West Virginia Penitentiary at Moundsville. Construction began in 1991 and was completed by late 1994, with the facility officially opening its doors in February 1995. The total cost of its construction was $61.8 million, a significant investment in ensuring the state had a secure and modern facility to house its most challenging inmates. Occupying 120 acres, with about 80 of these enclosed within a secure perimeter, MOCC is designed to contain up to 1,030 male inmates. The facility houses a diverse inmate population, including those in general population, punitive segregation, administrative segregation, and special management units. The prison has also faced notable incidents that underscore its dangerous environment. In November 2020, Charles Redmond was sentenced to an additional 40 years after being convicted of a second-degree offense involving the demise of another inmate. Redmond, already serving a life sentence, was found responsible for stabbing a fellow inmate, demonstrating the extreme nature of violence that can occur within the complex. Another incident involved Stephen Branscombe, who, in a grim episode of inmate violence, was implicated in the fatal stabbing of Russell Hager. Branscombe, a repeat offender with a history of violent encounters with law enforcement, used a metal shank in this incident. This event, among others, reveals the persistent threat posed by inmate conflicts within the prison environment. MOCC is equipped with extensive security measures, including electronic surveillance and manual controls, to manage the high risk associated with its population. The facility also operates almost as a self-contained small town, with its own power plant, water supply, and various essential services. Despite these measures, the prison's environment remains highly volatile. Number 8. Central Prison, Raleigh, North Carolina. Central Prison in Raleigh, North Carolina, stands as a notable institution in the state's correctional system. Built in 1884, it was North Carolina's first prison, constructed with granite sourced from nearby quarries. The facility, which occupies 29 acres and is enclosed by a double-wire fence topped with razor ribbon, was designed in a Gothic, castle-like style. Originally funded in the Reconstruction era, Central Prison has been through several significant renovations and expansions over the decades. Today, Central Prison houses around 1,000 male inmates. It serves as the state's execution chamber and demise row, a role it has fulfilled with a rigorous security apparatus. The facility includes an acute care infirmary, mental health wings, and various work and educational programs. It is the entry point for male felons with long sentences, over 20 years, who are over 22 years old. In 1968, a major riot erupted, triggered by demands from inmates who wanted high-security prisoners moved back to the general population. The disturbance led to the deaths of 6 inmates and injuries to 70 others, with several buildings set ablaze. This incident highlighted the volatile nature of the prison environment. The prison has also been the site of numerous violent incidents involving both staff and inmates. For instance, in August 2017, 2 correctional officers were stabbed while trying to manage a disruptive inmate. Similarly, in 2023, Ronald S. Rhodes, an inmate housed as a safekeeper, was fatally assaulted on the recreation yard. These events illustrate the constant risks faced by those inside and outside the prison walls. Among the inmates who have passed through Central Prison are individuals with high-profile cases. Henry Louis Wallace, known for a series of crimes spanning from 1990 to 1994, was one of the most notorious residents. Velma Barfield, a serial offender executed in 1984, and Samuel Flippen, the last person executed in the state as of 2006, also spent time at Central Prison. The prison has housed various other high-risk individuals, including Otto Wood, a famous escape artist, and Tristan Andrew Terrell, involved in a tragic campus shooting. Central Prison has struggled with prison gang activities. Notable gangs such as the Bloods and the Crips have had significant influence within the facility, contributing to the overall danger and tension. The presence of these gangs has led to violent confrontations and contributed to a climate of fear. The conditions within Central Prison are often described as harsh. The facility has faced numerous issues related to overcrowding, staff shortages, and deteriorating infrastructure. In recent years, there have been reports of insufficient staffing and high levels of violence, contributing to an environment that many describe as perilous. Central Prison continues to operate in 2024, but its history and present conditions reflect a place marked by intense security concerns and frequent incidents of violence. Number 7. North Branch Correctional Institution, NBCI, Maryland. North Branch Correctional Institution, NBCI, stands as one of the most formidable and technologically advanced maximum security prisons in the United States. Located in Cresaptown, Maryland, NBCI is renowned for its strict security measures and its role in housing some of the state's most serious offenders. This hypermax facility is a testament to the evolution of prison design, emphasizing control, surveillance, and minimizing opportunities for violence and unrest. NBCI's history dates back to its initial opening in January 2003 as an extension of the Western Correctional Institution. By 2008, with the completion of its housing units, NBCI began full independent operations, ultimately costing over $175 million to construct. This significant investment underscored Maryland's commitment to managing its most dangerous inmates in a secure environment. The prison's design reflects its purpose. 4 housing units, each with 256 cells, are built to contain individuals who pose a significant threat to society and to other inmates. Each cell, a mere 60 square feet, is crafted from cast concrete to prevent the concealment of contraband, with furnishings bolted down to prevent their use as weapons. Over the years, NBCI has become home to individuals convicted of the most severe crimes. Among its current inmates is Jared Warren Ramos, serving 5 life sentences without parole for the 2018 Capitol Gazette incident. Another notable inmate is Eulalio Tordal, responsible for a string of fatal incidents in 2016, which included the loss of his estranged wife and 2 others in parking lots. Alexander Wayne Jr. Watson, who caused harm to 4 people between 1986 and 1994, is also confined within these walls, serving 5 life sentences. The severity of the crimes committed by these inmates reflects the high-risk nature of the population housed at NBCI. Despite the advanced security measures, the prison has witnessed several violent incidents that highlight its dangerous environment. In 2008, shortly after their transfer from Roxbury Correctional Institution, several inmates faced harsh treatment from NBCI staff, leading to injuries and subsequent legal actions against 6 correctional officers. Such incidents, though rare, underscore the volatility of managing a population with such high levels of aggression. Homicides within the prison walls further illustrate the perilous conditions. In February 2013, an inmate was discovered unresponsive in his cell, with investigations pointing to foul play. Similar incidents occurred in 2012 and 2011, where inmates lost their lives in their cells under suspicious circumstances. Each of these events adds to NBCI's reputation as a facility where the threat of violence is never far from the surface. In May 2013, a correctional officer was targeted by an inmate, suffering injuries to his head, neck, and upper torso. This attack, although non-fatal, highlighted the dangers faced by staff members even within such a heavily fortified environment. The officer's recovery was a reminder of the risks inherent in managing some of the state's most dangerous individuals. Gang activity within NBCI is another factor contributing to the prison's dangerous reputation. Number 6. Riverbend Maximum Security Institution, Tennessee. Riverbend Maximum Security Institution, RMSI, nestled in Nashville, Tennessee, is a prominent fixture within the state's correctional system. Established in 1989, RMSI was built to replace the aging Tennessee State Penitentiary. Spanning 132 acres and consisting of 20 buildings, it is a significant structure in the landscape of Tennessee's penal system. With a capacity to house 714 individuals, Riverbend Maximum Security Institution is designed to manage high-risk male offenders. Of these, approximately 480 are classified as high-risk, reflecting the facility's role in handling some of the state's most challenging cases. The prison's mission is clear: to ensure public safety and maintain control over those who pose substantial risks, including managing death row inmates and overseeing the state's execution chamber. RMSI is home to several notable inmates, many of whom have committed severe offenses. Michael Lee Cummins, for instance, is serving multiple life sentences for a series of violent crimes in Sumner County, Tennessee. Emmanuel Kadega Sampson is serving a life sentence plus additional years for a shooting incident at Burnett Chapel that resulted in severe injuries and a fatality. Number 5. St. Clair Correctional Facility. St. Clair Correctional Facility, situated in Springville, St. Clair County, Alabama, is a men's prison that has long been marred by significant challenges. Established in 1983, with an initial capacity to house 1,514 inmates, the facility has faced persistent issues with overcrowding, violence, and dangerous conditions. From its early days, St. Clair Correctional Facility has been troubled. In April 1985, a major riot unfolded when inmates, armed and angry, took 22 hostages, including the warden and his deputy. The inmates' grievances centered around the barbaric conditions of the facility, a theme that has remained constant throughout its history. By 2014, the situation had deteriorated dramatically, with the prison operating at 130% capacity and an alarming rate of violence. The Free Alabama movement, spearheaded by inmate Melvin Ray, organized 2 significant nonviolent strikes to protest the overcrowding and exploitative prison labor practices. These protests highlighted the dire conditions, which led to a class action lawsuit filed by the Equal Justice Initiative, EJI, in October 2014. The inmate population at St. Clair is diverse, including individuals convicted of a range of offenses from theft to murder. High-profile incidents such as the 2023 stabbing death of Travis Lamar Wilson, Jr. by Cruz Caldwell underscore the ongoing violence within the facility. Wilson, serving a 25-year sentence for a 2011 murder, was fatally attacked by Caldwell, who was serving a 20-year sentence for theft. The majority of inmates at St. Clair are convicted of serious crimes and are often subject to harsh sentencing laws, such as Alabama's Habitual Felony Offender Act, which imposes life sentences for repeat offenders. The facility operates at only 59.5% of its full workforce capacity, significantly impacting safety and security. The severe understaffing exacerbates the volatile environment, making it difficult to maintain order and security. The EJI has documented widespread issues including neglect, poor leadership, and a culture of corruption, with contraband often making its way into the prison through compromised staff members. Violence at St. Clair is a grim reality. The facility has witnessed numerous. Number 4. Hayes State Prison. Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia, established in 1990, is a formidable facility known for its history of violence, overcrowding, and dangerous conditions. Hayes State Prison's reputation as a dangerous institution is well earned, with numerous incidents of inmate violence, gang-related conflicts, and serious security breaches. The facility has been the site of several high-profile demises, such as the fatal altercations in December 2012 and early 2013, where 4 inmates lost their lives within an 8-week span. The prison is known for housing members of notorious gangs who often exert control over parts of the facility, contributing to an environment of fear and violence. These gangs, including the Bloods, Crips, and Gangster Disciples, have been involved in numerous violent clashes, both among themselves and against prison staff. The presence of these groups within Hayes has led to frequent stabbings, assaults, and other violent incidents, making the prison a battleground for gang rivalries. Number 3. Polunsky Unit. In the quiet expanse of East Texas, just a few miles southwest of Livingston, lies the Allen B. Polunsky Unit, a prison known for its intense security measures and somber reputation. Established in 1993, the facility was initially named the Terrell Unit. It was renamed in 2001 in honor of Allen B. Polunsky, a former chairman of the Texas Board of Criminal Justice. The prison is situated on 472 acres and features a sprawling complex of 584,000 square feet, housing up to 2,900 inmates. Its bleak, gray concrete structures, punctuated by razor wire and guard towers, are a stark contrast to the surrounding lush green terrain of East Texas. Polunsky's most notable role is housing the death row for men in Texas, a position it has held since 1999. Before this move, demise row inmates were held at the Ellis Unit in Huntsville. This transfer was triggered by an escape attempt by Martin Gurul in 1998, which ended with Gurul's tragic drowning. The decision to relocate was accelerated by this escape and the overcrowding at Ellis. The transfer itself was a massive operation, involving the relocation of 55 inmates classified as particularly troublesome, marking it as the largest such transfer in history. The facility's reputation for being a high-security prison is not without merit. In 2000, the prison was the site of a harrowing hostage situation involving 2 death row inmates. Number 2. Red Onion State Prison. Red Onion State Prison, nestled in the remote reaches of Wise County, Virginia, is a stark monument to the world of maximum security incarceration. Opened in August 1998 at a staggering cost exceeding $70 million, this supermax facility was built to house the most severe offenders, providing a template for its nearby counterpart, Wallens Ridge State Prison. Its design, conceived by the architectural firm Daniel Mann, Johnson and Mendenhall, was intended to offer the highest levels of control and isolation. Red Onion State Prison stands on a 375-acre plot of land donated by the Pittston Coal Company, chosen for its seclusion and the promise of local employment. The prison, which houses approximately 800 inmates, is designed to impose strict restrictions on its residents. The facility's structure ensures that the majority of inmates are confined to solitary cells, each measuring 8 by 10 feet for up to 23 hours a day. Their windows are mere slits, and their interaction with the outside world is severely limited. Among the prisoners housed at Red Onion are some of the most notorious individuals. Lee Boyd Malvo, one half of the infamous Beltway sniper duo, has spent time here, serving a life sentence for his role in a series of shootings that terrorized the Washington, D.C. area. Another notable inmate is Jesse Leroy Matthew, Jr., who is serving multiple life sentences for a series of grave offenses, including the manslaughter of Hannah Graham and Morgan Dana Harrington. Joaquin Rams, imprisoned for taking the life of his own young child, is also among the facility's population. Despite its remote location, Red Onion has not been isolated from controversy. The facility has been the site of numerous significant events and crises, underscoring its reputation as a dangerous and volatile environment. Inmates at Red Onion have faced harsh conditions that have led to frequent legal and human rights challenges. Reports from former prisoners like Mac Gaskins reveal severe mistreatment, including physical abuse and deprivation of basic necessities. This has led to protests and hunger strikes, such as the one in May 2012, where inmates united across racial and gang lines to demand better living conditions and an end to what they described as oppressive and inhumane treatment. The prison has also been plagued by internal violence and gang activity. Number 1. Mississippi State Penitentiary. Mississippi State Penitentiary, commonly known as Parchman, is a haunting testament to the history of incarceration in the United States. Sprawling across 18,000 acres in Sunflower County, Mississippi, this penitentiary, founded in 1901, was designed to be more than just a prison. It was a working plantation, its fields worked by the very prisoners it confined. Parchman has housed up to 4,800 inmates at its peak, ranging from petty thieves to those convicted of the most heinous crimes, including murder and rape. Parchman's history is intertwined with the deeply rooted racial and social inequalities of the South. The prison's early years were characterized by brutal labor conditions, reminiscent of slavery, where predominantly black prisoners were forced to work the fields under the watchful eyes of armed guards, some of whom were inmates themselves, so-called trusty shooters. These trusty guards held the power of life and death over their fellow prisoners, embodying a perverse twist on the prison hierarchy. Over the decades, Parchman gained a notorious reputation, not just for its grueling labor, but for the violence that simmered within its walls. The prison has been the site of numerous riots, gang wars, and brutal killings, making it one of the most dangerous prisons in the United States. The penitentiary's Unit 32 was infamous, once housing the state's execution row and the most violent offenders, including members of the prison's most feared gangs. One of the most notorious figures ever housed at Parchman was Edward Earl Johnson. His case garnered national attention due to serious doubts about the fairness of his trial, highlighting the systemic racial injustices that have long plagued the prison system. Johnson was executed in 1987, despite significant protests and claims of innocence. The violence within Parchman has often reflected the broader societal tensions outside its walls. In the early 2020s, a series of riots broke out, leading to the deaths of several inmates. These riots were fueled by gang rivalries, deteriorating living conditions, and chronic understaffing. The prison became a battleground for gangs such as the Vice Lords, the Simon City Royals, and the Gangster Disciples, with control of contraband and influence over weaker inmates at stake. The names of gang leaders like James Talley, who met a violent end within the prison, are etched into Parchman's bloody history. The conditions at Parchman have been repeatedly condemned. Inmates live in overcrowded, dilapidated units where basic needs like clean water, adequate food, and medical care are often unmet. The prison's infrastructure is crumbling, with leaks, mold, and infestations adding to the misery. It's not uncommon for violence to erupt over these appalling living conditions, and the demise toll inside the prison continues to rise as a result. As of 2024, Parchman remains open, a symbol of a broken system that has been slow to reform.